Olha o contra-ataque aí. Vem que vem o time avançando rápido pela meio de campo. Bola dominada no pé do camisa 10. Ele vai pra cima, passou pelo primeiro, passou pelo segundo. Invadiu a grande área, vai chutar. Bateu, é gol! Que golaço, minha gente!
A experiência de futebol mais autêntica já criada para os games. Junte-se no 5v5 Rush, a nova maneira de jogar com os amigos e leve seu clube para a vitória. EA Sports FC25. Dê tudo pelo clube. Já disponível.
RH, quer saber como voar no trabalho? É só usar a Flash. Com a Flash, você concentra toda a gestão de pessoas em um único lugar. Faça a admissão dos colaboradores e solicite mais de 8 categorias de benefícios. Ah, e você ainda pode fazer todo o controle de ponto. Conheça o novo onboarding integrado da Flash em flashapp.com.br.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Blame Me. This is the last episode, if you are watching, that you will be seeing this background.
We'll see. I hope you don't get snowed in.
Don't say that. Why would you say that? Why would you do that? We've been here so
here's
long.
The thing. If you make your expectations low, then you can't be disappointed if something happens.
Are you quoting me? Always surprised, never disappointed.
I say that all the time.
Wow, we really are the same. That was like my thing in high school. I'm like, I always surprised, never disappointed.
That's what I would say in high school too, when my friends get like disappointed in things. I was like, they didn't disappoint me because my expectations for them were already on the ground. So
exactly. That's why people are like, how are you excited if you got a C on a math test? I go, because I expected to fail, but I didn't fail. I got a C. And I'm pretty happy about it. This is Don't Blame Me. This is an advice podcast. I'm Megan, and I'm joined by Melissa, my co-host, producer, and the only reason why this podcast exists and continues to come out.
What is up, everyone? So happy to be here. Welcome to Monday. Hope you're doing spectacular.
Do you think by now, what day does this episode come out? Do we know?
On the 8th of March.
I am back in Los Angeles by now. Wow.
If you're not snowed in.
Don't say that. It's not supposed to snow. Here's the thing. We're in Colorado. I love it here. The mountain house, it's beautiful. It's fantastic. We've talked about like if we're still going to be in quarantine and like still really like this, we might come back for like part of the summer or like spring or something like that to like experience like the lake when it's not frozen and all of that stuff. But the issue is now that the holidays are over, I have more stuff to do. I have like auditions and stuff. And when I tell you...
It's pilot season, baby.
I'm sorry. Megan's doing pilot season with 3 sweaters, one of which is a red cable knit sweater. And I have one like little black dress that I was like, maybe I'll wear it on New Year's. No. I've worn it for like 3 tapes that I've done. And I have like nothing. We have no shampoo. We had to buy new shampoo. We had to buy more shampoo.
Wow.
I ran out of moisturizer. Oh, yeah. I already had to buy moisturizer a while ago. Like,
luckily, this episode is sponsored by a shampoo.
Hell yeah.
Listen to it in the ad break.
Oh, yeah. Don't miss out. Listen to the ads. So I'm ready to have like my wardrobe and I'm ready to have good Wi-Fi. Turns out great Wi-Fi is my kink and I'm missing it. It is really fucking hard. It's pretty brutal, but it's beautiful here. But yeah, so back in Los Angeles, this is going to be exciting. So looking forward to
I know. And it's not like we were seeing each other except for like dropping off like food or something, but I feel the distance. I literally feel the distance and it's weird.
I don't know why. Like I can't figure out why. But I was even telling Lots, I'm like, I'm so excited to be back in LA. Like Melissa will be there and he's like, what? It's the same thing. And I'm like, I don't know. It just feels different.
Just different.
It just does. It really, really fucking does.
And all the places I've been looking at are like on your street. So
oh my God.
It's not on your same block, but it's on your street. And I'm like, it's still closer. And I'm just looking forward to it. Even though
I wanted you to move downstairs. Like
I know, but they never moved out.
No,
so
fucking assholes. Rude. Well, I guess I should explain what the show is. This is an advice show. You call in, you leave us voicemails, and then we give you some fantastic advice. And as we say, what we lack in credentials, we make up for in opinions. We have lots of opinions. I have an opinion I don't think there's one thing I don't have an opinion on. Actually, probably some boring shit like finance.
But you still have an opinion on that because that's how you are able to calculate your money. So that doesn't even...
Yeah. I guess I have an opinion on everything as long as I have Google. Because sometimes I need to Google to clarify, to find out what my opinion is. But I will have one.
You know, that's what a lot of people should be doing. Is like looking up things from credible sources before talking out their ass. So
I did see a good TikTok trend of this person who just kept messaging or commenting on like conservatives TikToks and like during their live streams being like, what do you think of Biden's taxidermy plan? And they're like, I just think the taxes. Yeah. They're like, Biden's tax plan, like it's abhorrent. Like I saw an article about it and I like couldn't even finish reading it because like what he's doing financially, like he's going to be like, he hates middle America. And I'm like, oh my God, there's not even like any sort of reading comprehension there. Taxidermy? That's a common word. Wow. Come on. So if you want to call in for an episode, leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. International listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. We ask you to write down what you're going to say. And that's how you get on Melissa's good side. And
there's only a few people there.
Oh, yeah. That's like...
in life.
Yeah. You want to be there, and especially if you're watching the videos, you know right off the bat because we know if they didn't write it down, and immediately
even for the updates.
Exactly. I mean, it's great for the updates when they write it down. It makes it streamlines it all, and you also have to be over 18 or have your parents' permission, and make sure you keep it under 3 minutes, which is also great to write it down and then practice
and share with us your pronouns.
Make sure you include all relevant information and pronouns of other people in the stories if it is
relevant to the story.
Yeah, relevant to the story. That's also very helpful at the beginning, not at the end.
Speaking of people writing things down in an update.
This update is from, I think we said maybe season 2.
Yeah, maybe. It's episode 38. So I think that's when we started like breaking things down by season. So
I think it is. Yeah. So Brittany Ferland was the guest. Has she been on more than once or just once?
Just once.
Just once. Okay. So Brittany's
I think
episode.
we released a bonus episode because we recorded for like 3 hours with her.
We did. That is like probably the people who are like the most surprised. Brittany and I talk about it all the time that like people are the most surprised. They're like, you guys know each other? Like, oh, we know each other well. And we've known each other for fucking ever. Like for so long. So it was actually the title episode of that call, which was He's a dad. I want to date a daddy.
I'm
dating a daddy. This was wildly interesting. And I think, again, it offers a lot of perspective. Like it's cool to have the updates that are like recent, but it's also really cool to have the ones from like a while ago to kind of see like how much people have like changed and grown and are different and how different their situations are and how you can go from being like, I'm going to have this man, I'm going to have his baby. Something else. But yeah, should we get into it?
Let's do it.
So my original call is from episode 38, which I don't even know what season that was because it was so long ago.
Same.
It was
2, maybe.
For Lan, and it was called Dating a Daddy, and that was me. One dating a daddy. He was 13 years older than me and had a baby when he was 16. So the daughter was just 3 years younger than me when I was dating him. I'm not dating him anymore. That's the spoiler. So basically I was just calling because I didn't know what to do with that information. He originally told me before we started dating that he had a daughter who was, I don't even know what age she is anymore, but she's 3 years younger than me, wanted me to be okay with it. And I told him I was, but he hadn't had communication with her since she was 7 years old. The mother just had decided she didn't want the baby daddy in her life. She had moved on to another man who she ended up marrying and wanted that to be the kid's dad. So basically the man I was dating, we can call him Rob because there's another man, we'll have another name soon. So we'll call him Rob. Rob was not around for the kid's life. And for me, when I heard about that, I was like, sure, that's fine. Ended up snooping and finding her because that's what we do nowadays.
Yep.
Like with media. So I found her and she lives in the same area as us. She's not far from us. She's also a dancer. So we are in like the same community. I'm also a dancer, so it's just kind of like a tight knit community in the area that we're in. So she ended up following me back. We were following each other on social media, and I just wanted to have advice on how I could connect my boyfriend Rob with his long lost daughter. It sounds like a movie. And I thought, if I could do this, then maybe one day we'll be one big happy family, which I never actually ended up doing that. Y'all's advice was basically, it's not your battle to fight. It's not your problem to solve. And that was kind of a lot of the advice y'all were having to give in the beginning. It's like, for a lot of us, we just want to like solve our partner's problems because we love them. And it was good advice. And I'm glad I called because I was just so in it that all I wanted to do was fix it. And it was not my problem to solve. So I did actually end up sending her an Instagram message. I actually listened back to the episode, and Brittany was like, you could send her an Instagram message. And I did, but I'm so glad you can resend those.
Did you unsend it?
Yeah, I unsent it because I didn't tell my boyfriend. So I was like, this is like an invasion of privacy. I just was like, maybe I shouldn't do this. I think I was even a little wine drunk. Like I resent it. I was like, this is not a good idea. And she didn't read it because you have read receipts.
Yeah.
Instagram something. If she didn't read it, I'll just delete it. And I never got a message from her. So I don't think she ever saw it. I hope she didn't, because I was just not in the right state of mind. And I was just kind of honestly being selfish, like just thinking about my own role in it and how I wanted to feel about the situation. And a lot of what he told me about it was like, hey, this is a new situation for you. I just told you about it, but I've been dealing with it since I was 16, and he was 40 at the time. So he was like, I've had a lot of years to really like come to terms with this. I really do think one of these days it'll happen. And he was very religious. So he was like, I know God will bring us together one day. And that to me didn't make sense. I was like, I don't understand how, like, so what, God's just going to put y'all together? Like, you're not going to do
without any effort. Yeah.
Without any, like, you're going to have to use the devices God gave you. That's you think to reach out. Like, you can't just expect her to, like, show up at your doorstep because God put her there. Like, so it was one of those things that was frustrating to me. And so I called you guys like, what do I do? But they were like, it's not your problem. I was like, okay, it's not my problem. I get it. But really what I noticed was that the issue that I had was I was just very codependent in my relationship with him. So all the issues that he had, I felt like I needed to fix. Everything. I even like looked up what codependency means. It's like feeling responsible for partner's thoughts, feelings, and actions. And I felt his inaction with like not reaching out to his daughter was like my responsibility. Okay, so I got to like make sure they come together and reunite, and like this will be a great thing, and he'll be so happy, and if he's happy, I'm happy. Like that's how I lived, like in that relationship with him. And now that I'm not with him, the partner I have now is actually an ex-boyfriend. I dated him before I dated Rob. So we'll call him John. The new guy's John. He's like the boyfriend I dated before Rob. We reconnected after our call, probably 6 months after I had my first call. And now that I'm with him, I realize my relationship with Rob was it wasn't good because I had such an insecure attachment to him, and everything depended on him and his feelings, but he was also insecure. So his, happiness depended on my happiness. So we were like constantly trying to make each other happy, but neither of us were working towards being happy.
Yeah.
Neither of us are going to be happy if we're just constantly worried about the other person. And John, the person I'm with now, again, it's a fake name. They are very secure. They don't need me to make them happy. They're happy on their own. And he just chooses to be with me and we're happy together. So it's like, I realize now, years later, that me trying to set him up with his daughter, while that does sound like a really great thing to reunite a father and daughter after years and years of being apart, it really was not healthy. It wasn't a good task for me to try and take on.
I'm so glad you're out of that.
Me too.
Okay. Should we get into our first call?
Okay, so this call is because I feel like my 8-year relationship with my friend is slowly going down the drain. Let's call her Sarah, and let's call me Madison. Okay, so me and Sarah have been friends for about 8 years. We started middle school together, and we are currently living together, and we go to the same college. Now, Sarah's a very hard and fast type of lover. She will talk to someone for 2 weeks and then start dating them and tells them she loves them within a month of knowing them. She's 100% a U-Haul lesbian. And she's really shit at managing multiple relationships at once. So whenever she is in a relationship, I usually get put on the back burner. Another thing about Sarah is that she's very secretive about her relationships when speaking to me. So Sarah was in a really toxic, emotionally abusive relationship 2 years ago. And during that time, I was clueless about what was going on, and I still feel guilty about it. But she basically dropped off the earth and would never text me, would never make plans with me. And anytime I would text her, she wouldn't respond for days. And so I felt really lonely, and I started making new friends. And my friends and Sarah grew up together as well. We've all known each other since middle school. So she made me feel really shit about making other friends. And she always mentions that I dropped her during that time when it was really kind of the other way around. But right after that emotionally abusive relationship ended, she started another one, and then they broke up, and then she started another one, and then they broke up, and then she started another one. And every time she's been in love, and every time she has a relationship, she's told me nothing about them except they're dating, and she just always puts me on the back burner because she knows I will always be there. My friends, the ones that I quote unquote abandoned her to be with, all tell me that she's taking advantage of me, but we've been friends for forever, and we lived together, and we were best friends, and she's practically my sister, so I don't really know what to do. So basically my dilemma is my best friend is very secretive and emotionally distanced when in a relationship, which is all the time because she never is single. So what should I do about that? I don't know. I mentioned it to her, and she always gets really defensive, so I don't know what the next step would be. Thanks for listening. Bye.
It's hard to live with friends. And it always boils down to this, but if you guys didn't live together, you could just kind of go about your lives and it would be fine. Because I think this is really I definitely have friends who were like this, who have since grown out of this completely. And that was something that was meeting my friends who are now in very, very long-term relationships. How I kind of knew that that person was the person they were going to end up with is that they didn't immediately become obsessed with them. It wasn't all of that stuff all at once. It wasn't like that at all. Not that they were keeping secrets from me, but they definitely were very hard and fast, first date, love them so great, and definitely would become obsessed and spend all their time with them. And I would be on the back burner, but it wasn't hard because we didn't live together. So it was just kind of I knew that that's how it went. But then as they got older, that's the relationships that stuck, and the ones that lasted weren't like that at all. So the withholding information from you, I don't blame you at all, but I'm assuming that's because you've said something negative, or you haven't been quote unquote supportive, or you've had feelings, which are inevitable about these people, which I have also done. But if you want your friend to come to you, you can't talk shit about the people that they're dating. Mm-hmm. And that's a very hard thing to do. But if you really want to be in the loop and know all of this kind of stuff, then that's about apologizing for the stuff you've said previously, and saying that you really want to know stuff and be involved, you want to be able to share in their joy and happiness and know all of that kind of stuff. But also if they know they're dating people who are bad for them, that's also probably why they're not telling you. Right. Which has definitely, I've been there too. But I think you feel obligated to be her friend. I don't really think you want to be her friend right now. And that's okay. But I don't know. I'm kind of a proponent and a believer of do your if you want to be obsessed with your boyfriend and spend all your time with your boyfriend, go ahead, have fun. I'm not going to stop you. Enjoy your life. I'm also not going to tell you to not do that. But I'm going to I'm going to spend time with other people. I'm going to go do all of this kind of stuff. You can't have both. And
you can't have both. Yeah. And like, call her out on like the fact that when she's like how she said that you abandoned her, basically, like, just call her out and be like, you haven't been around, so I made new friends.
Mm-hmm.
Get over it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be responsible. I can't just sit here like being the woman at home waiting while you're out with your girlfriend or whatever. Like, leave, like, let me live my life. Stop trying to hold me back. And like, you always have a place in my life, but do you not see how you have left me? It's okay to have separate lives. Like, you don't have to always be, just because you live with each other, you don't always have to be like around each other.
Mm-hmm. Also, you feeling really guilty that she was in a toxic relationship and like you had no idea and all of that stuff. And her saying you abandoned me, to me, that sounds like stuff that she has said to you. It is not your responsibility to know that your friend is in. If your friend is not sharing those things with you and you're not seeing it, like, you're not psychic. There's no way you can know that. And she should never put that blame on you.
Right.
And make you feel like, oh, well, you abandoned me and like when I needed you and all of that. But you didn't know she needed you. How are you supposed to fucking know?
How are you supposed to know? And she's looking to place the blame on someone and you're the easy target because she thinks that you're not going anywhere.
Well, and also I'm assuming she's making the same dating mistakes. And so she doesn't want to think that her choices, it's no one's fault to be in a toxic relationship at all. But I don't think she wants to think her picker is off. And I think she wants to blame an outside party, you, not maybe, oh, I should take a break from dating because I'm dating these really toxic people. I don't think she wants to do that reflecting and then that understanding. Because someone who's like not self-aware is someone who's going to place blame on a third party for their own experiences that like you couldn't have prevented. And I think it's a natural thing, like as a friend, like if I had a friend who went through that and I had no idea, like I would be like, oh my God, like, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I didn't know. And they would be like, no, that has nothing to do with you. Like, how would you have known? I didn't tell you. Like don't put that on yourself. But the fact that she's like, yeah, put that on yourself. Like, that's not cool. And she just sounds, I think your other friends are right. Like, she knows that you're always going to be there. And we do tend to treat people like who we know will always be around sometimes the worst because like we know they'll stick around. But I think like you were saying, like you just have to have like an honest conversation with her where it's like, here's the thing, date who you want to date, have fun. Like, I'm sorry if in the past I've said things that have been judgmental. Like, I just really care about you and I like am worried for you and I worry about you like after this toxic relationship that I didn't know about. Like, I definitely like I've been stressed about not wanting you to be in a situation like that and me not know again. But at the end of the day, like saying that I abandoned you when I had no idea what you were going through and like that I can't make my own friends, like makes it to me feel like you want me to sit at home, have no other friends and just wait for you to come back from hanging out with your partner. And I need to be able to have my own stuff too. So I have no issue with how much you want to hang out with your partner or anything like that. But in turn, then you can't have an issue with me hanging out with other people. Like, that's not fair for me not to have an issue with who you spend your time with, but you have an issue with who I spend my time with. Like, that doesn't feel fair. And like, it kind of leaves me in a place where you get to have friends and a partner and I have nobody. Like, that's not fair. And if she can't like accept that, then I think that's just when like you become roommates.
Yep.
Which is sucky. But I would also urge you to not necessarily talk unless you're like done with this friendship. I wouldn't talk to your other friends about it. Yeah. Because I think when you mend that friendship, again, the same way the same way that she's kind of treating you like, oh, this is a friend that I'm always going to have. I don't blah, 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 blah. She'll always be there. You probably feel the same way about her, but your other friends don't. So when you talk shit about her, even if it's like for you just venting, that's something that sticks with them. And then like, let's say things get perfectly fine between you guys again, then there's some like weird animosity there and some feelings there. I think it's best, like if you need to shit talk your friends, just talk to a therapist, like write it down. I'm not a fan of talking to like friends about other friends. You know, stuff you wouldn't say to their face. It's just, it's not it. It just makes it awkward. but you can talk shit about people you aren't friends with. Switch it up. Switch it up.
All right. Next call.
Yep.
Hi, Melissa. Hi, Megan. I am 22 years old and I am a Cancer, and I have an issue with a friend who's an Aries, also 22 years old. We had a falling out a couple of months ago because I was seeing a guy that she knew I was seeing. It wasn't serious, but she knew it, and we had talked about him a couple of times, and she matched him on Tinder and then talked to him on Tinder. And I didn't find out about this conversation through her, but I found out through him because he told me. And when I found out, I decided I would not address it straight away, but instead go to bed and then address it the next morning to kind of sleep my anger off. But that didn't happen because she texted me that she needed to talk to me because she was sad and she had issues. And I was just very angry at that moment. In that moment, so I said, I don't really see why I should be here for you when you would go behind my back like that. Then we had a conversation, a phone conversation, and I was really, really upset with her. And I told her that, and I said, I can't be here for you right now because I feel betrayed by what you did. I just don't think that that's okay. And then we didn't talk after that for months. And now yesterday she wrote me she responded to an Instagram story that I did in the most petty way. And I told her, listen, I'm not here for petty drama. That's not the way to get to me. If you want to discuss something, you can call me or text me. And then what she said was, you don't have any interest in talking to me because you have never reached out over all these months, and I'm feeling so bad because of what you did that night, and I am still struggling with it and I'm still hurting over it. And I didn't quite get that because I was the one who was being wronged. I was not the one who did any harm to her except not be there for her in that moment when I was terribly upset, and I think rightfully so. And I told her that. And now she said, well, that night I was having in a bad mental state, and I just really needed you, and you weren't there for me. And I don't want your empathy or anything, but I just want you to also see my point. And now my question is, she's a friend who always, very often, uses the excuse of bad mental health to kind of justify her shitty actions, or to justify justify shitty actions, truly, and to justify being mean to me and being rude. And I don't know, am I the asshole for not respecting mental health as an excuse in that sense, in that context? You can yell at me. I'm a Cancer, but still, you can yell at me.
Is this the pilot for our
new
show?
In today's episode of Am I the Asshole? It's become the new segment.
Yeah. I do love it.
Me too.
Oh, I mean, no.
No, not at all.
No. Controversial yet brave statement I'm going to make as somebody with, I don't even know if I have mental health. Anyone who uses mental health as an excuse, I don't, that's manipulation. That's not mental health. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not. It's like, it's so genuinely not. Like, I don't know anybody who struggles with their mental health who would blame anything they've done on that and like how they've treated other people. Like, or like all. Recognizing that their mental health isn't the strongest and then not taking responsibility for what they did, and they're not working towards a solution. She's just blaming it and wanting to move past it. Which is insane. Like, it would be like, wow, that thing that I did a couple months ago, or like the thing that I did, like I like was in a really shitty place, and I'm out of it now, and I'm able to see that, and I'm so sorry, and I'm really going to be working on better coping mechanisms because I should never be taking that out on you. Mm-hmm. But like being like, my mental health was not doing well, so like I need you to apologize. And also, here's the thing, it happened the same night, so you know what happened? She anticipated this, and so she came to you needing something, so then she could be upset with you before you could be upset with her. Mm-hmm. That's what this was. This is like classic manipulation. And this is just fuck off, bitch. Like, fuck off.
All the way off.
fuck all the way off.
Like, why would she talk to this dude? Like, just taking the mental health aspect out of it, why would she talk to this dude that she knew you were talking to? Did he know that you guys were friends? Like, but he was the one that told you. So
yeah.
Maybe maybe he was like,
too.
Because she said they weren't serious. So maybe he was telling her about this other girl that he was talking to.
Oh my God.
And it happened to be her friend.
I hope he knew that she was your friend.
But her doing that is so messed up. Knowingly doing that is so messed up. And now she is trying to use her mental health as an excuse for her bad behavior.
And not even just as an excuse. It's like, my mental health trumps what I did to you. So give me an apology.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
no, you're not the asshole here. She is. She clearly is. And I think you did the right thing by ignoring her and her being she's a petty bitch that is not your friend.
No, not at all. Mental health is never like an excuse at all. And that it pisses me off when people do or say shit like that or do shit like that. Cause it's just a load of bullshit. Like, and the same thing with trauma or whatever. It's like, trauma doesn't make you a bad person. Like, going through something rough and like rough childhood, bad parenting, anything, that does not make you a bad person. Mm-hmm. Like, your situation can set you up, can make it really, really, really hard for you to become a good, to seek out help and seek out therapy and all that stuff. But this idea that that's the default is just insulting to people who've also been through shit and like pulled themselves out of it, as if that wasn't an active choice and like work that they put into it. And just being like, I'm just going to like be okay with being a bitch, and I need everyone else to kind of fall in line around me, and I'm going to blame it on something while I'm also not working on anything. Like, I'm not working on my mental health, but I'm going to blame my mental health for this. Like, it's like actual bullshit. And like, again, the whole thing of her even just reaching, like her talking to, that seems to me as like a child acting out. Like, give me attention, like pay attention to me, mom. Like, that's like, because what do you think is going to fucking happen?
Mm-hmm.
She's lucky you didn't fucking bitch slap her across the face.
Through the computer.
Fuck this bitch. You are not the asshole. Block her on everything. Hide your story. Make her so she can't see you. Let her be petty in herself, and then she'll self-implode. And also, this dude, please tell me he's no longer in the picture. Okay, we're going to take a break and we will be right back. And we're back from our break, and we're getting to the rest of our calls.
Hi, Megan and Melissa. I am calling because I just found out that my little brother broke up with his girlfriend, who they've been dating for a year, and she has actually become one of my closest friends during that time. We have a friendship that's totally outside, like, their relationship. We just have so many of the same interests and the personality traits, and we clicked immediately. And we text all the time. We send each other YouTube videos and TikToks and podcasts to listen to. We're just constantly in communication. And there was a long chunk of time during the pandemic where she was living with us. We're still in the pandemic, but at the beginning of it, she was living with us for quite a few months. And I am still wanting to be friends with her. I've already reached out to her and told her that no matter what, I'm still here for her. And I know she was super relieved to hear that. She was worried that I maybe might not want to be her friend anymore, but that's definitely not the case. I definitely still want to keep up our friendship. But I'm wondering if you have any advice on how to continue this friendship.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
and we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like, it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Also, I guess being mindful of the fact that she did date my brother. Like I said, our friendship exists outside of that, so I don't know if it needs to be something that I'm at all concerned about, or if it is something that I should always like keep in mind, or at least for a little while. Like I said, they dated a year. As of right now, I'm not sure if it looks like they would be getting back together or anything. They seem to be on pretty good terms, and he said that he just broke up because he wasn't happy in the relationship, which was honestly shocking to me because if anything, I thought she would have broken up with him. To give you a little bit more information, I am a Sagittarius. My brother is an Aries, and his girlfriend is a Taurus. So, yeah, I'm just interested to hear what you think, and if you have any, like, words of advice. In all honesty, like, he's my brother and we get along, but the friendship is very important to me. I'm very loyal when it comes to my friendships. So, yeah, love the podcast. Stay safe, you guys. Bye.
PSA. Only give us your zodiac signs if you also give us your ages. I don't care what your zodiac sign is if I don't know how old everyone in the story is.
Yeah. You didn't tell us how your brother feels about this, which I think is the most important part. Like, you reached out to her, but did you reach out to him and to ask him like how he felt about you continuing your friendship with the girl? Like, come on, you gotta, I think that's who you should, unless you and your brother aren't super close and you're just like, fuck that relationship, I don't care about my brother. Like, I think that's the main person that you should have been talking to and not her.
And it sounds like you live with your brother.
Yeah.
So go upstairs, knock on his door, ask. But the whole thing with this conversation needs to be like, hey, because again, it sounds like you live together. Hey, I know you guys broke up. Like her and I always really got along and we're friends. How would you feel if like we maintained a friendship? Feel free to tell me like that's not something to be comfortable with. And if he says he's comfortable with it, then you would also let him know. And if at any point you're no longer comfortable, like let me know. Mm-hmm. And that's it. But at the same time, after that, then I would find out like how she was doing post-relationship, because I think your whole like, I'm going to stay out of the relationship aspect of it. Like, sure, I get that if they were never in a relationship to begin with, but like, what if she really wants to get back together? What if she's using your friendship to get back together with him or something like that? Like, that's not the kind of friendship that you want. So like, you need to know that like for her, maybe it's really hard for her to like see you and like talk to you because she just always thinks of your brother and like all of that kind of stuff. Like, as much as you want to separate your relationship with her from their relationship, you can't. And so like, it's just about making both parties are comfortable and that it's not hindering both parties from like moving on and living their lives. And that might take like a break or some time, but like it does, I say this like kindly, you're making this about yourself and like you really like this person as a friend and you really want to be their friend. Like you really like hanging out with them and all of that stuff. And that's great, but it's not about you. Mm-hmm. And you guys might be able to be like great friends later on, but like she might need to get over him.
Right. So, and also but like the ex-girlfriend now said that she was relieved when you reached out and said that you still wanted to be friends with her. Like, that's where her mind is.
Yeah, can you guys date? Like,
that would be even more drama than
I don't know.
Maybe
it's romantic.
But maybe he sensed it. He was like, they have better chemistry.
Is a thing for you.
Yes. So I'm going to remove myself from the situation. That actually sounds like a great premise for a movie.
I'm just going to say that. I was literally just going to say that. What were you saying before that?
The fact that she was relieved that you still wanted to be friends with her. And like, is she heartbroken? Like, and maybe even making like a boundary that we don't discuss my brother at all. But like, I just want to know where he is in this.
And I need to know how old you are, because if he's like 18 and you're like 20 and she's 18 and they dated for a year and it's like their senior year of high school, that to me is pretty different than like, oh, we were 25 and like she's 22 and like, you know what I mean? Like something that's like the age wise and like the level of the relationship, the seriousness, because the length of the relationship doesn't necessarily indicate how serious relationship or what it's like unless we know the ages like at all. So yeah, I'm just very, and then you also have to think about, again, you just can't separate that's your brother and they used to date, because what happens when he gets a new girlfriend? Right. You know what I mean? Like, then that becomes like your sister is like really good friends with your ex. What about like your birthday party post-pandemic? Like, is your brother, and then is she going to come? Is she like the ex going to come and bring her like new partner, her new boyfriend? Like it is going to be messy. And so you just either have to like, you have to embrace the mess and have open communication about the mess and be like, hey, I am like an unaffiliated party in all of this. If either of you are uncomfortable or not liking anything at any point, like tell me, because you're the only thing tethering them essentially to have to like stay in like the same orbit. But you can't just ignore the mess. Like you have to have open communication about it constantly and know that like one day it just might not work anymore. Yeah. Because like someone else's partner might not feel comfortable. True. Which is also valid. Well, call us back. Would love to know, some of those more details. Maybe bring your brother on the line. Yeah. Patch and his ex-girlfriend. We'll fucking Dr. Phil it or Maury it. If you want us to escalate, we can escalate. All right. Last call. Before one. Don't blame them.
So I'm from California and I've been dating my girlfriend for about 5.5 years now. She is 25 and I'm 24. And we've been living together for a while, for about 2 years now. My girlfriend is from Spain and is in the US for work. When we first started dating, she had told me that she would eventually like to go back home to Spain. And while I took that into consideration, I felt like it was so far away at the time that I didn't focus on that much. Over the years, we would imagine ourselves having a home in California together, but all of a sudden, now that her work visa is ending and is not up for renewal due to COVID, she said she wants to go back home to Spain and she wants me to try living there with her. She wants us to go move there when our lease ends this summer, which feels so soon. I asked her what would happen if I end up not like living there, and she said we'll stay together. But she won't give me a full concrete answer, which scares me. I think she's banking on the fact that I'll like it there, but I'm scared that she won't be there for me if I don't like it. And she also hopes to continue to live there in the future, as it seems it's a permanent thing for her. The thing is, I love Spain. I'm fluent in Spanish, and I've been to Spain many times before for months at a time. Although I've never lived there long term, I'm ultimately scared that there will be no turning back for my partner and that I won't like living there. But I also love being near my family and friends in California, since they are very important to me. I'm also so comfortable where I already live, and it's hard to imagine being so far from everyone and everything I've ever known. I know my partner is the one for me, and she and I have plans to get married in a few years. She wants me to move into her parents' home. They are very attached to her, and they renovated their house to include a wing just for us. It's on the same floor as their bedroom, but we have an entire living space, such as the kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, living room, just to ourselves. Although that is nice, they never asked us if that's what we wanted. They just made the renovations. I feel pressured to live there, even though I would actually be fine and happy living there because I'd save money. At the same time, her dad has said many things about me behind my back. He can be controlling and manipulative, and I sometimes feel like I can't escape the toxicity. My partner has a hard time standing up to her parents, but I know I need to handle being around her parents since my partner is the one I want to be with forever. I address these concerns with my partner, and she has set boundaries with her parents and has been seeing a therapist, though I'm afraid she won't be able to keep up the boundaries in person. Anytime the subject of the future comes up, it becomes very tense between us. We both feel torn, and I know if she wasn't as attached to her parents, she'd want to stay in the U.S. She promised them at a young age that she would take care of them as they get older, and she doesn't think they'd be willing to move to the U.S. My parents are also making me feel bad at the thought of me moving away by saying many things that I also feel like is indirect manipulation. So in the end, I feel torn in every way by everyone. So since this situation is incredibly stressful, I like to hear your thoughts on it. And so thank you to you both. Bye.
This is a tough, sticky situation.
Yeah, there's no right answer.
Mm-mm.
There's no one that avoids like conflict or
unhappiness, potential unhappiness. I think you need to weigh, like, is your girlfriend somebody that you see you spending, like, you want to spend the rest of your life with her? Because, like, she's asking you to upheave your whole livelihood to go move to a foreign country that you, other than her, don't have any ties to.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a decision that you have to make for yourself. Like, do I want to change my whole life to be with this person? Or do I want to stay where I am, continuing to live my life and lose her?
Exactly. Those are the options. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that I think you need to reconcile is that, like, there isn't an option of you guys just staying in America. And it wouldn't be fair for you to, like, and even you saying, like, well, I think if she wasn't so close to her parents, she'd want to, all of that stuff. Like, honor her feelings. She wants to move back there. Like, regardless if she feels obligated to versus, like, it doesn't matter. She wants to move back. Like, she's always talked, you even said she's always talked about it. There's no convincing her to stay. That's not fair. In the same way that she shouldn't be convincing you to go. No one should be convincing you to stay or go. Your parents, her family, anything like that. I think that you say you want to marry this girl. You say that, like, this is, like, who you, like, want to be with, but you do have to decide, like, do I want to be with her and move to Spain, or do I not want to be with her? Because that's really what the options are. And I think if you want to try it out, here's what, like, to be super honest, I would try it out. I think there's no harm in trying it out. I don't think that, like, I think that, like, if you really love her and really want to be with her, you're never going to know, like, if it'll work out or it doesn't. And it either doesn't work out in a year or a couple months, or it doesn't work out now. There's nothing that you could do to prevent what's going to happen. And I'm the kind of a no stone left unturned person. And so I would probably go, but I would be like, okay, we're going to go. I'm going to, and, like, let her know. And here's the other thing too. When you said that, like, she can't tell me what's going to happen if I don't like it there.
You can't predict it.
No. And, like, you can't tell me what's going to happen either. Like, it's not her call. If you don't like it there, that's, like, okay, then that needs to be a conversation of, do you want to do long distance? Because to me, what it sounds like is you want her, your ultimate goal is to get her back to California and stay in California.
Because you were talking about, like, you guys have been looking at places to live and stuff. So
yeah. So you need to know that, like, the relationship isn't on her terms. It's, like, both of you. So it's like, okay, I'm going to come to Spain because I really want to see if this relationship can work. But when we do that, like, I want us to get our own place. I don't want to, like, live with your family. Like, that's, like, a boundary. Like, for me, it's just pretty isolating, which is very, very, very valid. And if that's something that, like, she's not okay with, like, and she's like, well, I want to live with my parents for a while, then it's like, okay, then we'll do long distance for a while. And then we'll decide if I want to do that. But I think that, like, I mean, maybe actually, I'd kind of take this, but maybe the thing I would advise is actually do long distance first before you make that change.
Like, what's the end goal then? Because if they don't do long distance, there's still inevitably, there's not an end goal there. Because the girlfriend's going to want to stay where she is, and the caller wants to stay where she is.
maybe that distance will make you realize I would move to Spain for her.
Sure.
Yeah. Or because like the logistics of moving that far could be rough, but no, it's true. I think like if you're not sold on like, if you want to be in Spain and this is where you want to end up, I want to end up with you. So like, that's where we're going to fucking move. Like, okay, like, let's do it. Like, if you're not 100% there and for it, then you're not for it. And I don't think it's good. It's not going to change once you're there and it's not going to work. And it doesn't matter how much you like love each other, how great it is. You guys it just might be you want different, like
sometimes love
things.
isn't enough.
Yeah. And that sucks to hear, but there's no like right answer that doesn't leave someone compromising something. And she hasn't lived with her. She's been away from her, like where she like is like from and all of that stuff for a long time that I completely get why she'd want to go back there. And I think like, if you want to do tit for tat, then like maybe you go spend a couple years there, but then from there, it's probably pretty likely that both of you are going to want to end up staying where you're from.
Yeah.
And that maybe just feel like a waste of time. Or you do a long distance marriage.
Where you can live, you have places in both, and you just fly back and forth.
What if you picked a different place for you both to live?
I think that Spain is the reason she wants to go there because her family's there.
Yeah, but that to me makes complete sense. And it seems like home territory versus home territory, like both of you want that kind of stuff. And like, you're still young, like spend a couple years in Spain and then like, are you guys open to like moving somewhere that's like the halfway point? I have no idea where the fuck it's the ocean, Megan. You guys need to talk about like take your feelings out of this. And it's just about the logistics of it. And like you said, sometimes love isn't enough. Like that won't necessarily make it work. I apologize that we don't have like the solution.
But
to
I
this.
think it's just a lot of soul searching, looking deep within your heart. It's
trial
going
and
to
error.
be, trial and error. And I hope.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.
That your heart doesn't get broken because they've been together a long time.
Yeah. And yeah, you gotta, this sounds so fucking cheesy, especially coming from me. You have to follow your heart, not your head. And you can always move back. Or you can always like, that's what or you stay where you are. Like, take away the logic and like the practicality and all of that stuff. And like, you just have to go based on your feelings. Cause that's what this is about. Like, it's not about like a job or anything like that. This is about like being in love with someone and trying to make it work. Just don't try and get her to move back.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know her parents didn't ask you about the but I still think it's a great gesture. That's like you build a whole wing.
That's so sweet. That's like really, really sweet. And I do wonder if you've had conversations with them since about like the shit that they've said behind your back. Because to me, that seems like a hi, we're old people and we don't know how to apologize. And this is a gesture to show that like we respect you and your relationship and like we want to give you your own space, which is really sweet, but also like not obligated at all. And then who knows, maybe you move there, you guys get a cute apartment, and then like after a while you're like, I would love to move in with your parents for a while.
No money?
I know. Okay, this is Don't Blame Them. This is when a listener calls in with their own advice from a call we've had on a previous episode. Maybe they have personal experience, they heard something or had some insight that we didn't say, or they just want to be like, yeah, Megan and Melissa, you guys fucking crush that. Agree. Sign off. So What episode?
This is from season 7, episode 12. And the original caller was in a work situation where she wasn't sure what pronouns to use for her new coworker. So here's someone calling to share their thoughts and feelings.
Fantastic.
Hi, Megan and Melissa. I am doing a Don't Blame Them for the latest episode, season 7, episode 12, in regards to the person calling about asking their coworker about their pronouns. My pronouns are she, they, and so I've never really had too much of a trouble with that at work, just because like people assume that my main pronouns are she, and it doesn't super bother me. But I did have a similar experience recently. I do work at pretty liberal small business, and so I imagine it's a little easier when it's like a tight-knit community compared to more of a corporate setting. But I had a coworker come in and somebody else referred to them as they. So I just kind of went up to them and was like, hey, you know, I heard someone refer to you as they, and I wanted to check, like, what are your pronouns? Because, you know, I don't want to misgender you. I feel like the more casual you are about it, the easier it is. Like, if you make it a big deal, if you make it uncomfortable, then it's going to be uncomfortable and it's going to make that person feel singled out. But if you're just casual, like, hey, my pronouns are she, her, or he, him, or whatever, and then you just ask theirs and you just continue on with your conversation, it's not going to be a big deal. Furthermore, I think it's also important to just like implement starting to introduce yourself initially with your pronouns, saying like, hi, my name's this, my pronouns are this. Like, if we just start introducing ourselves with our pronouns immediately and normalizing that, it's going to make everybody so much more comfortable. Just because, like Megan said, we can't assume someone's pronouns just because they present in a certain way. And the more we get comfortable talking about it with cis people and non-binary people, like, the more comfortable everybody is in general. So that's all I got. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day. Bye.
It's a great call. And it's also a great call on, it's something that I've definitely gotten better at. And I mean, ADHD, I'm still pretty bad at listening, but that's something that's like, when I hear people talk about someone that I don't know, that's something I really like. I never even realized until I listen out for how they refer to someone. Mm-hmm. And so if you hear someone referring to someone as, or you hear someone using certain pronouns for somebody, just being like aware and cognizant of that is also a great thing to do. But I mean, I would even say, even since that episode, which was the last one we recorded, the amount of emails that I've gotten now that like I've noticed have people have their pronouns in the email, which I hadn't even like really noticed until we did that call and we talked about how like that might be a good way to do this, to implement in like email signatures. And I was like, oh wow, a lot of these places are already doing that. And I like wasn't, now that we talked about it, now I'm like looking out for it. And so I think that's like a great thing to do. And yeah, keeping it casual and not making people feel singled out, because it's just, that's the thing that always kills me. Like, we all have pronouns. Everyone has pronouns. And so this idea, and like it happens with like straight, like conservative cis boys on like TikTok who are like, I don't want to fucking hear your pronouns. And everybody's like, okay, honey. Okay, lady. Like, bitch, you have like, we all have pronouns. Yeah. And it's just now people are finally starting to, they're non-binary people have always.
They feel empowered to share what their pronouns are.
Yeah. And we're creating like a space and a more inclusive, like hopefully creating like a more inclusive world where people are feeling safer and more comfortable to be their true selves. And yeah, it's not a new thing. And so it doesn't need to be, again, a spectacle. And if you see fucking anyone at work or anywhere else making anything like that a fucking spectacle, call that shit out. Call that shit out so fucking hard, especially if that person's not there. If you hear people talk, it's like saying stuff. I've had it before where someone that I used to kind of distantly work with introduced themselves and like said their pronouns and like all that stuff. And like someone else was like, oh my God, like how fucking weird. And I was like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. What are your pronouns? Right. Come on. You have them too. So making sure that in those spaces when people aren't there, that, if people are saying shit, nip that shit in the butt. Boop, 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 boop. Circumcise it. Snip, snip, bitch. That's it for our episode. Hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, you know what we love? We love when you leave reviews on the Apple Podcast app. It makes our life. It really does. Like, it makes my day. If I'm having a bad day, sometimes I just go and read them. So it is nice when it does what I'm looking for it to do versus like I go to read them and it's like, fuck these libtards. And I'm like, yeah, well, it was not my goal.
Someone also commented that we say like too much. And I'm just like, as I just said, that's just part of language. Get over it.
Here's the thing. I know, and I've tried, and I'm doing the best. I'm doing way better than I used to be. And I'm the best I can be. And there is nothing else I can do. So kindly fuck off. And if you ever do it to me, I will... Because my therapist hyped me up once and she was like, no, your brain works too. Because she's like, you have ADHD. Your brain works faster than your mouth. So you need filler words. And she's like, you don't really rely on or you rely on like. And she's like, there's not a circumstance which you don't rely on any. It's just which one are you going to rely on?
Go read the book called Word Slut, A Feminist Guide to Taking Back the English Language. And then report back to us, please. Thank you.
Okay. Leave us a review and tell us how much you love that we say the word like a lot. And if you want to listen ad-free, we're on Stitcher Premium. If you want to support the show, we're on Patreon. It means the world to us. For $1 a month, you can watch all the video versions of the episodes. So that's literally between 3 and 4 videos for $1. That's 20 to 25 cents. I think it's worth it. And it really helps us keep this show going.
Like, honestly, it really does.
If we didn't have Patreon,
there wouldn't be video.
We've talked about it before, but the pandemic really hit our podcast hard. And we love doing this podcast. We would love if this podcast, for the amount of work that goes into it, it's like a very expensive hobby.
Yeah.
And so the Patreon really helps us like cover the cost of producing the show. And we also have a $5 tier, which if you want to just support, you don't have to join our live streams. We do 2 Zoom live streams a month where we just like hang out. It's like Zooming with your friends. We like really all get along and it's really fun to like see the relationships that like listeners have with each other and that we get to know people really well. And it's really fun. But if you just want to support the show, $5 a month, it would be great. And you can also, if you are like loaded or you have a sugar daddy, and that's one of the things you request, you can also fill in any amount you want to be your monthly donation. So you can, if you're like, hey, again, I am the heir to Heinz
Toaster
ketchup.
Strudel.
Oh, Gretchen Wieners. Thank you. So yeah, check us out on Patreon and check out our Instagram. We have the Don't Blame Meme Pod account, our own individuals. I've got a book out and presets if you want to get either of those things. And what would you like to promote?
I have so many other podcasts and just follow me and I put them in my story and check them out.
She has I used to be able to name them all. I don't think I can name them all.
You can't put them all on one hand anymore. So
no, you can't. She can't even fit them all in her bio.
Yeah.
That's fucking...
I was like starting to do one of those little highlights on Instagram, but now I don't have enough space to put all the shows, so I got to delete it.
See, this is why you need I think you've officially made it. You need a link tree. I think it's link tree time.
I think so. Maybe. I just, get a website, which I'm working on.
That too.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
It's coming.
If you want to call in for an upcoming episode, or if you have an update, if you've been a caller on a previous episode, leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. And international listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. And for updates too, if you want to, you can leave us a voicemail, tell us you have an update. We'll coordinate schedule. Or if you want to send us an email, if you want to send us like a DM on the podcast account, there's so many ways to get in contact with us for the update. Yeah. Not for regular advice.
I prefer for the update, either call or just send us an email and just say, I was in this call. I was in this episode. This was my call. I have an update. Just say that. And then we'll schedule for the update.
Yes.
Also, don't update us with calls that we didn't put on the air.
Oh yeah. That's a weird turn of events that has happened. I'm confused.
Yeah.
Has it happened more than once now? I'm so confused by it.
Yeah.
It also just like, all it does is really confuses Melissa and I, because then we both start questioning our reality. Like, did we do it? I don't remember this.
Yeah. Somebody, it happened once, like in a voicemail, but then I've got a few DMs from people saying it. So
weird. Well, that's it. Okay. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and don't kill anybody. Wear a mask.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Don't Blame Me is a production by me, executive produced by Melissa D. Monts, edited by Katrina Henning, and music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
Do you love Disney? Do you love top 10 lists? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And I'm the Dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. The parks, the movies, the music, the food, the lore. There is nothing we don't cover on our show.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed.
I had Danielle and Megan record some answers to seemingly meaningless questions. I asked Danielle what insect song is typically higher pitched in hotter temperatures and lower pitched in cooler temperatures.
You got this.
No, I didn't.
Don't believe that. About a wish coming true? Well, I didn't either. Of course, I'm just a
cicada. I'm crying. I'm so sorry, Jiminy.
You win that one.
So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.